Hello people, and welcome back to part 3 of Ilos, our modded Cities Skylines build. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. And thank you so much indeed for all of the support. Over these first 2 episodes, you guys have absolutely smashed it. I think the first episode is on like 20,000 views now and is still above a 99% like ratio, which is insane. That's crazy. Like, thank you so much for all of the support on Ilos. Just crazy. So glad you guys are enjoying it. And I really super appreciate it. And I'm enjoying it as well. Now, a little American eclectic suburb is starting to grow here now. We have some kind of cute little sports designs over here, which all looks great, you know, and it's all wonderful with our car parks and everything else that we're so fond of in this modded city. However, what I want to discuss today is the application and usage of frontage roads or express lanes, depending on their kind of orientation or usage. So a frontage road can also be referred to as an access road, outer road, service road, feeder road, or parallel road. You've probably heard me refer to them as road against road action, which is not their scientific term, but it's the same thing, right? And you know, if they're used alongside major highway infrastructure like this, then they can also be referred to as local express lanes. So what they're going to allow people to do is essentially gain access back onto the highway from the suburb without having to force their way back through one of the major highway intersections, either this one or this one, this hypothetical one, which will exist down here at some point. So, in order to find out how these are used and how they look and how they actually function, we of course need to jump into Google Earth. Okay guys, and welcome to Google Earth. So the I-17, the Interstate 17 that runs north out of Phoenix has a frontage road that runs pretty much for the entire length of it, and this is Black Canyon Highway. And we'll see this road right here. So let's come down into our street view and check out the little yellow asexual figurine. Now this road kind of changes its appearance at a couple of different spots every now and again. So for sometimes it's just this little wire fence with concrete block. Sometimes it's just a wire fence. Sometimes there's a massive kind of concrete sound barrier like you can kind of see here. Yeah, there's one on the other side of the road here. We can have a little look at that. So we'll jump over here and we'll plop down our little person. So, you know, all great inspiration available with Google Earth. So here we go. So we can see that they're one-way roads, right? They're following the one-way direction of their adjacent highway. And then we do get some larger ones with much taller sound barriers. So lots of different vibes and aesthetics that we can pull off with these express lanes and frontage road designs. But really, what I'm interested in is how they allow kind of the surrounding suburb to sit alongside a very dense piece of infrastructure like a highway and sit so closely to it. You know, there's not an inch of free space here. Every little bit of room is maximized, and you know, there's churches over here, there's car parks. We can definitely get away with some detailing along these frontage roads, and you know, you can just follow the Interstate 17. There's endless inspiration for how these roads, you know, sit up against a suburb and just provide access into them like this. So super useful. And we can also see how they connect back in to highway interchanges as well, you know. So these are the concepts of frontage road that I want to play with today. Let's see how Cities Skylines handles them, and let's see how we can make them look good as well. Okay, so let's start discussing the initial implementation of the frontage road for Ilos. I think I'm going to use one of these decorative with trees 1 unit roads. And then let's just run parallel with the highway for a little bit, at least until we know where we want to hook in to the existing suburban infrastructure. So let's say about there for right now. And that should be relatively okay. So we'll switch our direction, remembering that the frontage or express lane wants to follow the same direction as its adjacent high-speed road. That's going to be quite nice, okay? Don't think I'm too adverse to that. I've also downloaded a sound barrier prop from the workshop. Again, just to kind of implement those vibes that we've just seen in Google Earth, right? We have a variety of barriers between the frontage road and the highway. It could be wire fence, it can be kind of taller, larger, more impressive concrete sound barrier like this. A couple of different options available. So we'll let that run parallel as well. I think that's going to be a nice aesthetic, right? It's certainly going to help to box in our highways a little bit more and help them sit more organically in the suburb, which I think I'm happy with. And then just by simply selecting all of our nodes and move it, we can now just copy and paste this entire design over to the other side of the highway. Give it a couple of right clicks so we can spin it around. And now just a case of eyeing it up. I think that probably looks about right, doesn't it? Let's have a little check. So there we go. I think I'm fairly happy with that, right? Probably want to move our little road itself up to the sound barrier a little further. We can see where we're getting some height differences here, can't we? We'll definitely want to tidy some of this up with move it, I imagine, which sounds like a good job for our detail and time-lapse. Yeah, so if you're going to be copying and pasting designs like that with move it, probably just worth it to sweep through with your tool and just reset a few of those more gnarly ones back to a normal height. There we go. And that's what we're after, right? Wonderful. So already, how much better does this frame the highway? Already looks so much better, doesn't it? And then just a similar case again with these two nodes towards the end. We just want to bring their height down ever so slightly, so we don't get that weird dimensional tearing. Otherwise that's going to be kind of the first spine of it in, right? I think I'm going to be happy with that. Back into those roads now. And then we can come on with Anarchy. Hopefully get a connection in here. Probably definitely want to do some node controller stuff here too. Just open that up. And then just increase those offsets. Okay, just widens that junction out a touch. We can do some intersection marking here as well. But just so we can get it hooked in and kind of see its initial premise, let's get it connected in here. And then hopefully we can now just see a few sims choose to take this option instead. Now ideally this is a little bit close, but we should be okay here. We'll have to keep our eye on it. And success, we have our first person using the frontage road, which is actually an industrial goods vehicle, sending goods out of the city. And they're going to be using this little frontage road now. So let's see where he goes. He's going to head over here, right? Let's see if he goes left or right and how he switches the lanes dependent here. Yeah, so he's just merging and going straight right. That's absolutely fine. The only time I can see this getting dodgy is if there's a lot of traffic trying to cross all the lanes to turn left here. So something to keep our eye on, but it's not going to be an immediate issue. Yeah, look at this again. More industrial traffic choosing to use the frontage road, which is very interesting. Another one here as well. And another one. Yeah, okay. So interesting, right? Just having that frontage road hooked in is already siphoning off industrial and residential traffic. So very interesting indeed. And commercial. So see, everyone's just getting siphoned off now. So it might not look much, but what it's doing is it's just taking pressure off of this junction, right? This is what it's all about. This is why I've used road against road action. And very similar concept when you're using them in suburbs as well. We have this frontage road here just to take pressure off of the main arterial. And although they do have several connections on them, this was just kind of a trial run. And this works nicely. Just a few little cars just choose to come through here, and it'll just all about siphoning pressure, okay? I think respect the siphon is today's take-home message, everyone. So I have actually upgraded this road here. Let's come ahead and upgrade the other one as well. Just into a version without trees as we approach the frontage road. And now it's just a case of kind of decorating up, again, using Google Earth to see what kind of fits alongside these. So immediately, let's have a look at zoning up some more residential, because we've got some big boy demands in for that at the minute. And again, we've kind of got all this big grid filled out nicely. We do have some worker demands in the city as well, due to last episode's suburban expansion, so we'll also provide a whole bunch of new housing in the American Eclectic District. The Mehmet Beriskin Hills, which is entirely flat. So I'm not sure why it's called hills. Okay, very nice. But what we can do with these things now is just decorate them out and fill them with service assets. So let's click on some of these, and we have these little indicators here, which are really useful to kind of show what services that they're missing the most. Wonderful. Let's start discussing some car parks, of course. Let's go into our wonderful world of car parking roads. I think I'm going to use. There we go. And then we'll get the 180-degree snapping. That's going to be wonderful. Let's go ahead and throw down some more of these car parking decals. Again, I think I'll just do my little kind of favourite thing here of just saving room for a little planter to appear in and around here, right? Maybe a little kind of brick one like this. I think that's relatively nice, right? And then these guys are screaming for elementary school education, I believe, right? Yeah, 639. So we're playing with another elementary school asset, Hayes Elementary by King Leno. Again, anything from King Leno is just amazing. So well done. A lot of my fast food assets are from King Leno, so if you're wondering, just go check out his workshop listing, just unreal. So many cool assets there. Okay, so we'll allow this on our car park. We'll maybe go for probably about there, I think, right? And we've got some parks that can also complement this build as well. This one right here, the elementary school. Playground certainly has a place here as well, I think. Again, we'll see where we can squeeze this in. I think we'll just trim off a touch of that car park and then just bring it back in. With Anarchy as well. There we go. That should be fine. Okay, that should be okay now. And again, we can just continue to increase walkability with our little pathways. Reaching through here. Okay, but that's going to occupy quite a nice and large space. So again, we can just jump back into our residentials and see what else they're missing. We've given them a little bit of a boost in elementary school now. So they're also crying out for medical care as well. Alright, let's do some fun medical care stuff over here too. So let's come into parking lot roads again, and we're going to move back into, I think, big parking lots for this. And we've got a nice little space here where I think we can do some pretty cool things. So again, we're going to come into the grid, and let's go for... Right about there, okay. So we'll hook that drive road in. Just thinking, actually, these guys will want another connection back into the suburb, because once they're in the school, technically the only way back into the city by car is to get on the highway, leave, and then come back, which is way too long. Okay, but we do hit Busy Town in the process as well, which gives us lots more assets. Very exciting indeed. Some new public transport stuff, lots of awesome stuff that we all love. Very nice, cool. So new milestone. Population is continuing to grow. Okay, so let's have a little look at these roads here. So I want to come on to angle and road length for this, and again with big parking lots, we just want to stay in measurements of 3. So let's do that here. Upgrade this into border road 2. So with Ploppable Rico, we have some assets within our low density commercial pool, which work really nicely as part of car park lots like this. Giant ass Walmart as well. There's a few of them. We've got a Walgreens pharmacy. Oh, so good, isn't it? And Urban Outfitters. Oh, yes, please. But it's really all these ones I want, these kind of narrow looking ones, right? because we can make some really cool looking car park designs out of these. So that's what I want to try and play with today using Poppable Rico. So let's see if we can allow perhaps a little more room for these guys to come through. So if I want to perhaps grab all of these nodes here and then bring you parallel like so. Again, I'm happy to have kind of maybe a little curve here, right? Not everything has to be rigidly straight. You know, not everything is rigidly straight in Arizona either. There are kind of little bends and curves here and there. And we want to come back across again on the angle snap. Straight down and then connect in. That's amazing. Let's grab a filler road now. So again, we want to be drawing these in with Anarchy on. Super. That's going to give us those 2 car parking spaces. Then with Poppable Rico, I can now just fill up these little spots here with all these little units that make up this little commercial park. So you can place them in as and when you want, of course. Once I have money, I do need to take another loan. I'm playing on 50% game speed, so it's even slower than normal. Let's go for some of these big parking lot decals as well. Let's get a few of them in. That should probably be okay, I think. We'll get some disabled ones up front too. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, and 4 on either side. Yes, boys. So of course we can design a new car park detail point here using our planters. We have a little semicircle here, which is quite nice. I do quite like these. If we were to place you in maybe directly opposite each other. Now this is the kind of micro detailing now that's really getting me going. For a tiny tree, let's come on with tree anarchy as well. I do feel like I want maybe something a touch more important perhaps. Maybe a juniper. About a single juniper in each one, right? That's going to be too bad. And again, we can just search for a light. I think we'll go for a couple of little toll road street lights. Okay. Let's turn on our nighttime view. I think I'm mostly happy with that, okay? That's not going to be too bad. Let's go ahead and select props and trees, of course. Give that a little bit of the old copy and paste. And then we can just eye up here where we want to sit. Really enjoy putting together these car park lighting systems, if that's what you want to call it. Very fun indeed. Very fun indeed. It really is. Another one here again as well. Yes, please. Thank you for all the comments and suggestions on the mod help as well. I have some changes to make with Traffic Manager. Okay. But hopefully now we can just start to see little spots of kind of personality and decor begin to appear along the frontage or access road. Okay. Of course, we want to continually zone up some of these guys here. Got a Pizza Hut in as well. Got a Radio Shack. So much fun to construct these little commercial lots now, right? Probably don't want the car parking out front there. We can get rid of that. Now just using Move It to just bend the back of that border road off of the suburban road. That should be okay. Do want to remember to include that drive road also, so people can actually get back and to from this car park without having to leave the city. I think I'll just create a little bit of kind of dead space here for the road to flow through. There is a surprising amount of dead space in Arizona. It's just kind of empty and nothing there. And then using our little Ilos greenbelt palette that we've developed, which is kind of shrubbery and smaller bushes, we can just enjoy a few clicks of the forest brush tool alongside, of course, some stretches of the Old Faithful Nature Reserve. Right. Even just clear a little pathway through this. And then line. With some nature reserve with decoration maybe. It just meanders through this little grassy plain. The Sims can come and do their shopping. Alright. Might actually be a little bit too densely or kind of thickly vegetated. Absolutely is. Because there's vegetation coming through the pathway. Which are things we don't like to see. There we go. There we go. Alright. Very nice. So even just from the bird's eye view now, we can now just see that the introduction of the frontage road creates a border against that highway. And allows us just to box off this side of the suburb really nicely. And the same principle will apply because we're snapping to everything on this right angle here. And this is our main grid. The highway isn't on this orientation. So frontage road not only providing higher speed access into the highway for all types of traffic, but it's also kind of bordering off a shifted angle from a very rigid grid pattern, which can always be a challenge to do in cities. So that's really interesting. I think I'm happy with that, okay? So again, I think I'm happy just to keep providing these little service lots here. Let's go ahead and grab another little two-way road here. I'm actually going to snap to angle and road length for this. Bring that one in, and then again, just keep grabbing some more of my little car park roads here. Come on with anarchy. Go for 10. Bring these ones in. And again, we have some calls for healthcare now, so why don't we grab one of our healthcare assets. Do have some Texas Home Medical. Vision Works isn't too bad, I don't think. There's also the River Park Emergency Room, which we have already used. We'll go for the cheaper one. Let's go for Texas Home Medical. Fully realising that I am currently in a city that is mainly based off of Arizona, but we can pretend, right? So we can bring that in. I think that's going to be quite nice, right? I think that is. I think that's going to sit relatively nicely. So we are getting some little industrial demand at the minute, which is fine, right? You know, we would expect industrial demand to come into the city. However, coming into Ploppable Rico, I have downloaded some warehouses that will actually function as industrial buildings. CC provides 20 workplaces, does cost 15 grand, which I don't have. And there's various different levels of these as well, okay? There's some kind of larger office-looking buildings too, which would be really great if we're getting involved in some of these eventually. But it's really kind of the warehouses that I'm interested in right now, okay? Because I can absolutely get involved with some warehouse vibes up and against the side of this road here. So once we do have enough money by quickly taking a loan, thank you very much indeed. So poor. Alright, we can place these now. So let's have a little look. Which one we fancy, shall we? I just really want to place it just so I can see what it looks like. So you just see, it's just an industrial building operating normally. It's going to provide 20 jobs. So these are really cool warehouse assets. Again, all linked down below. Yeah, so it's all these warehouse collections here. Yeah, Warehouse 3 Rico. So these are the ones that I'm using here, if you want to come ahead and grab them. In a collection by Avania. Avania's warehouses, non-polluting Rico industry. Very cool assets to satisfy that demand. So again, I think I'm certainly not going to be adverse to not having a warehouse here, okay? I think I'm also in the mood for some further medical care. How about if we were to combine Vision Works with a Texas Home Medical here as well, alongside some commercial zoning too. How about an auto zone here, I wonder? Drag this over to this side too. Don't want the assets to merge, do want a little bit of space between them. We will get into merging some assets together eventually, but not right now. Okay. So a little medical and commercial kind of plot or plaza right here is going to be wonderfully welcome. Even getting some people walking down the frontage road here too. And we can see those people actually using this little access road back into the city now as well once they've come out of here. Which is good, that's what it's there for. We are losing power, are we? Yes, we are. What's the budget looking like here now? Yes, we can probably place in a few more solar panels. Such a convenient little power source, these solar panels. Very nice, that should give us enough availability. Maybe go for 2 more. Continuing to discuss and expand with ploppable Rico, we also have the options for some low density residential, which actually looks like high density residential but will function as low. And these are some little apartment blocks. And I love these assets, these are really nice. There's a whole kind of collection of them here as well, if you want to go ahead and grab them. Especially these ones here, the little Stonecroft apartment building. Love this. Let's see what we can do with this, shall we? Let's grab one of these small roads again, and then we can position the placement of these guys up and alongside, and I might want to try and go with move it to essentially flush the apartments together, if you will. So you do make it look as though it's one continuous block, which I'm not adverse to, okay? And we can do some really nice things with car parks and these as well to make some little apartment complexes, which is very cool. If we grab both of you and slide you over, is there a possibility to include a third and then run with a repeated pattern of 3? Let's have a little look. I think we might be ever so slightly just too narrow with the road placements here to get you all to fit sensibly. Yeah, I think you are, aren't you? Okay, that's fine then. We will work with what we have here instead. Bring these over. And why don't we get a little park path with some benches in between? Just flow in between them. Of course, with no road length either. Here we go. Let's bring those down. So we'll now just slowly see as we kind of customize the side of these frontage roads. Just all these little kind of bits and pieces pop up, okay? I'm definitely keen to expand this side of the frontage road today as well. And perhaps even bring down the first arterial connection off of this road here. Looks like there's been something attached here previously, I think. You can see where the intersection markings have been broken. Okay? Not too bad at all. However, before we start working on some designs for the left side of the highway here, I want to actually have a look at bringing the frontage road into the intersection, if this isn't going to absolutely ruin it, which hopefully it won't. Okay, so let's come off with 100% anarchy. And then what happens here if we do this, I wonder. We're going to need a little bit of, I think finagling, as Biffa would probably say, right? This does want to be somewhat finagled, if that's the adjective. Okay. Can we just bring you in there like that? So not the best job in the world in terms of tree anarchy, as always, but we'll see what happens here. Yes, there we go. There are people choosing to come down already. Why and where are you going? Let's have a little look, shall we? So Cedric is heading to home. He lives in the Americans Eclectic area. And you are going home as well, again, to the American Eclectic area. Okay, so you are using my frontage road. He says, sounding surprised. I have tested this design before, I know that it works. Like we have done this before, okay? So we're getting, there's some jank here that wants to be tidied up. We're getting a little bit of spillage with the key now. And then I think what we're going to do to kind of round out a few of these spaces is just allow our American Eclectic theme to expand into some of these spaces. Also over here as well. And what we'll do eventually is to bring another arterial through this way. I'd like it to come over the highway and then into kind of the mega mile grid, which of course will occupy this space here. So of course we can decorate all these during our detailing time lapse and get some nice things going with these areas, but hopefully now you can kind of see as it begins to fill out, it just kind of really nicely rounds off the shifted angle away from the rest of the grid. So get this side hooked in again as well, and we know that we're offset by 29 meters here. So let's repeat that on this side. do get a little bit of clipping, but of course we can fix this with a little clipping remover here. Gonna help that out. Okay, so let's run down this way now. Very nice indeed. And again, we'll probably bring it into this highway intersection here again as well. Again, we're going to get some jank, which hopefully Move It isn't going to be too fussy about helping us fix. That should be okay. Again, remembering to turn off road anarchy, which I'm never going to do. Right, and hopefully this one is just very simply, easily fixed as well. Right, we'll tidy up these bends as well, of course, during our detailing time lapse. Straighten that a bit so it's not quite as dodgy, but as long as we have connectivity, right, that's what's going to help us for the time being. Let's come into our roads and we'll grab a big median road. So really, if this is going to be potentially the start of the Mar grid, or the very first road that's placed in along that Mar grid network, we can bring this road down here. Okay, which I don't think I'm totally adverse to for the time being. And then if this is going to run all the way down, it's probably a little bit close to where we want it. So I think I'm going to move this over a touch more, maybe down to about here, okay? And then we can let this run down as one of our kind of main arterial roads through this section with lots of road anarchy available. Okay, I need to turn off tree anarchy down here. And then we can now just continue to expand those initial designs and vibes that we came across on Google Earth. Okay, I think I definitely want to do something with these low density residential patterns and a car park. Of course. What else? So we'll put some traffic lights on this junction here, and with these roads we actually get some really nice pedestrian crossings, almost like this red brick with these big American roads here, which is really nice. And again, I'm just going to widen out this junction, just so it's a little more important looking, okay? Very nice. Now let's go for this again. We'll bring this down a touch closer. So we'll bring this road down into the frontage kind of express lane road. I'm hoping as we begin to zone up here, we're going to see some people using this side of it. But for right now, everyone's fairly happy, I think, right? So this is going to be a really nice design that we can pull off using residential buildings and big parking lot roads. So the first thing we want to grab is a border, and of course you want to orientate this as to wherever you're going to place it. A nice unit of 12 or 720 is going to be appreciated. Then we come up by 9. And then back across again by 12, making yourself a little rectangle. And then with 2 of the filler roads either side, we leave ourselves a little 4x4 space in the middle, which is perfect for these little Rico residential buildings to appear in. And of course you can duplicate this pattern as many times and as many shapes as you like. And then to repeat the pattern, it's just a simple case of you delete the border, redraw in again by 720, come back up to the top, and then repeat those designs. You go for filler on the side. So we actually connect up to the top there. There's going to be one more at this point, which gives you the space in the middle to again bring in some more of your zonings. And then you can flash this out with car parking. So there's lots of these little designs kind of knocking about everywhere. Alright. Big car park spaces is this side. And then flush out 2 more on the ends. I don't think that's going to be too bad, and we can certainly place maybe a few more of these little apartment looking blocks on the outside of the little kind of apartment block here, if you will, alright? So nice ways to, again, continually decorate the highway. I think it's going to be a bad approach into town, right? I'm fairly happy with that. And then again, we want the drive road just to connect in. And now we can just let our little suburban designs and grid fill out this area over here. So there's some fun little things we can do here in the node controller by bringing out a road and then setting up the end of the node to have a 200 That is not 200. That is way too big. There we go. A little 200% stretch, just widen out the end of the road. That's by bringing it down, we can create these little kind of cul-de-sac roads, right? Get some zoning around these and just have a nice little dead end to the road. And that will also border the arterial into the side of town as well. So we'll set up a new district rather than continually expand Mehmet Briskin Hills. We're going to get Lee Hawkins Hills, of course. Shout out to the wonderful Lee Hawkins, of course, one of the builders during 5 Builders project. Wonderful creator. We have some industrial demand peaking again as well, so I think I'm just going to dive back into proper Rico and maybe have a play around with another little warehouse asset here too. We switch this onto its side. So not the worst thing in the world, I don't think. Happy with that. However, I do need to let the game play because I am burning through my money and we can't build anymore. So, one speed problems, everyone. So we'll just carry on mapping out our current suburban grid setup, even though, you know, we're not really going to be filling all this in today, but there's certainly space to be filled in terms of zoning opportunities. Start adding some interconnectivity into that frontage road as well. Bring one down here, and a further one down here as well. And of course now this concept and premise will apply to the vast majority of the highways, maybe not through the downtown, which will probably lie around here at some point. But certainly for a lot of the major ones that are knocking around, especially over this end of the city. So I'm definitely keen on including a couple of the child and elder care facilities just because of kind of the red and mosaic tile roof that they have. I think it's going to work quite nicely in this theme and also blend with the residential assets as well. You could almost use this design to kind of box off like a private residential estate or area or garden, whatever word you want to tether to it. And then use the elder care as something of kind of an administration and entrance building into some kind of private estate. But we'll have a look at that eventually at some point. I definitely get some garbage processing issues in the city alongside some worker demands. The worker demands are slightly skewed because we're using the lifestyle rebalance mod, which does, you know, just slow people's life cycles down so people don't quite hit teenager and adult as quickly as they would in the vanilla game, which does affect the worker demands somewhat, but it's nothing serious. And we'll have a childcare centre around here as well. It's going to make sense to have this as part of maybe the school centre over here, isn't it? See where we can maybe bring you over if we spin you around. We can probably make you a part of this little school complex, can't we? Yeah, that's going to fit in quite nicely, I think, isn't it? It's going to be okay. Let's have a little scan over it. Yes, see, we are starting to get some American eclectic houses pop in now. So we'll slowly start seeing the suburb come to life, because at the minute it's all these little construction assets, and we're starting to see a few American eclectics hit their final level, and this is the kind of asset we're going to be looking at, right? Very typical American housing. Very nice. Okay. It's all slowly coming together, isn't it, I think? Slowly but surely. Let's see, I don't think I've seen anyone using this left side frontage road just yet. Hopefully we will as it continues to expand. But we'll see either way. However guys, that does feel like a good place for a detailing time-lapse. We have a bunch of work to do. To sort out the connection jank into the highway intersection with the express lanes. Lots of detailing up and around here to help these kind of warehouse assets sitting a little more organically in the suburb. Give them some accompanying kind of design assets and stuff like that. And fill out some more of these green spaces with Ilos's kind of lush little deserty green belt with flowers and ferns and cacti. Decorate out these sides and of course all our other little detailing bits and pieces. To help fill out today's episode as we kind of get a sense of how the service roads here really help us to not only give access to the highway but also to box it off as well as part of this relentless American grid that will fill out. So nice way to deal with the shifted angle, but otherwise let's get to detailing and we will be right back. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, likes, comments and shares below really help bring more people to my channel and help support me. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. Again, just a quick thank you to say for all the support on the channel recently, especially with the start of Ilos. It's going like crazy. All the numbers are super green. We had like 400 new subscribers in 4 days, which is insane for me. That's a lot. So welcome to everyone new. Hope you're enjoying the channel. There's lots of vanilla cities Skylines content here, but now some modded clearly as well. But I am really happy with today's build. Not too much infrastructure expansion, and we're very much focused on the implementation and the idea of frontage or express roads to allow people easier access on and off the highway. And we've developed some relatively nice designs here today using some commercial parking lot stuff. Also some nice residential condo designs which I'm really happy with using Rico. Really cool stuff, and there's lots of great assets you can get on Rico too, so you don't have to limit yourself to just these apartment looking ones. Lots of possibilities there. Do hang around for the outro tag. There was a ton of detailing that you guys wouldn't have seen, and of course the nighttime view with the highway now being flanked by these frontage roads should give us some relatively nice symmetrical light spice, which is always appreciated. I think, right? You had a wonderful Christmas and are indeed looking forward to your New Year's, and again thanks for all support, means the world to me. Otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, enjoy the rest of your day.